This country is undergoing the biggest rebranding that we've probably ever seen.
It really reminds me of Shanghai back in the mid-2000s, where you saw every week, every month, the entire skyline would change.
Saudi Arabia is pouring billions of dollars to build insane futuristic cities, buying up global sports.
We're opening 2 resorts as well, which is St. Regis and Ritz-Carlton Reserve.
Its ambitions are insane as it scrambles to diversify away from oil and using that wealth to try to become a global hub. I'm getting access inside its exclusive investors conference. Not anyone can attend. For one, you'll have to be ready to fork over $15,000.
Our airport is ready. Flights are coming in, commercial flights. It's an amazing dream that is becoming a reality.
This is the most ambitious project we've seen in our lifetime. It's putting $500 billion into the NEOM project and billions more into developing Red Sea resort destinations. But is all of this just a PR stunt? Because just a few years ago, men and women were segregated in shopping malls. Women were hardly in the workforce. Me and you couldn't even visit.
I was the first female in the company overall.
Today it's reforming decades-old laws and traditions.
I don't think there is any other country that has witnessed as much social change, at least.
Will it be able to reshape its global image away from its past? I'm here to meet locals, investors, and heads of these crazy ambitious projects to try to understand, can Saudi Arabia pull this off?
We have alone invested in 30 startups in Saudi and throughout the GCC.
There's so much demand for tech-driven solutions, both from corporates, but even the government here.
We would love to see the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Saudi Arabia grow.
It has the control on the top with a visionary leader to go and push towards execution.
I've just arrived to what's called Boulevard World. To me, this feels kind of like Las Vegas, but without all the sin. They're creating a replica of the Eiffel Tower and a place dedicated to Egyptian pyramids. This project only opened a couple years ago, costing hundreds of millions of dollars. It's located in Saudi's biggest city, Riyadh, with a population of more than 7 million people. This is kind of like a symbol of the new, aspiring Saudi. See, until a few years ago, you would never find a place like this, where men and women are mixing so easily. In the past, in malls, men could only enter with immediate family members. A group of single men couldn't enter. But now things are different, with thousands of young people coming out to this popular night spot. Saudi is investing hundreds of billions of dollars to change its economy. See, it used to be primarily based on oil. That's what made it rich. But there's a massive shift away from fossil fuels and sustainable energy. Saudi knows in order to stay rich, it must change. It's doing all of this under what's called Vision 2030.
Vision 2030 gave everybody a purpose to run towards and to achieve. From the results that we're seeing today, I think we've already achieved a big chunk of that vision in just the first half of it.
I meet a local investor in her office.
I'm Basma Snedi. I'm a managing partner at Impact 46. I basically manage all of the investments and assets that we do throughout the venture capital funds that we manage.
Vision 2030 is the sustainability agenda, which is very important.
That's Gloria Guevara. She's a high-profile woman credited with reviving Mexico's tourism industry. She's the former CEO of the World Trade and Tourism Council, who then got poached to join Saudi's Ministry of Tourism as its chief special advisor.
Every single of the giga projects and every single of the initiatives in the kingdom have the mandate by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince to be sustainable. The case of NEOM is the first development ever who has defined the citizen in the center, and it's going to be sustainable day one.
She gives me the highly curated PR response about Saudi's goals and sustainability. But it's true in that Vision 2030 is Saudi Arabia's big makeover plan.
All of the mega projects that we know about, from NEOM to King Salman Park to the Red Sea global project, are now underpinned with the 2030 vision, which underlines that all of these developments have to happen in a sustainable fashion.
It wants to develop new industries like tourism and tech, empower women and youth to embrace technology, and do all this while protecting the environment. It's doing all of this by building these mega cities, AI-powered systems, and putting ancient mosques alongside art installation.
There is more to come, inshallah. The vision itself has targets in terms of number of investments, number of companies, number of developmental KPIs for the country overall. 10 years ago, I would have said it's too difficult, but today I can confidently say it's achievable.
But in order for all this to happen, it can't really do this in isolation, even with all the money it has. It needs the buy-in from global investors.
The biggest part of social change, I think, is women's empowerment, and that's widely observed. I'm sure you've seen the changes that have happened over the last 6 or 7 years.
And Saudi has had a bad history, from women's rights to outright being responsible for the killing of one of its own people, a journalist for the Washington Post.
Very different country from where we were before that. Women participation in the labor market, the highest in the Middle East now in Saudi. It's about 36% or 37%, much higher than the target that we put for ourselves, which was 25%. Back in 2015.
Women in the workforce, I think, was something new in 2010, where there was very few women that you would find in the workforce, and usually they would be the only ones there in terms of their department, or in my case, it was the whole company.
We exceeded that target and almost doubled it. There's one indicator to resemble social change. I think it's women participation, and that in of itself can have lasting impact on the economy and, let's say, changes that will create economic growth for years to come.
I was the first female in the company overall, but the evolvement of that has been amazing in the past period, where now you can find women making up 50% of the workforce.
But besides the modernization, there's something a few people tell me is a problem here.
I hear from others that the kingdom faces a challenge in attracting top talent because no one wants to live here.
One event ultimately hoping to change all of that, it's sometimes called Davos in the desert.
I want to go to Saudi Arabia, where investors have gathered for the Future Investment Initiative, dubbed Davos in the Desert. CBC's
South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will embark on a trip to Saudi Arabia.
I've just arrived at this event that brings together investors from around the world, and about 50% of them are American and European. They come here to Riyadh to meet, to hear speakers, but not anybody can attend. For one, you'll have to be ready to hand over $15,000. Now, this event claims to be a global event that just happens to be in Saudi Arabia, but almost everywhere you look, you see signs that represent the billions of dollars of investment that are going into projects from sports to tourism to finance and more.
It's here where I meet its CEO, Richard Attias, who used to be the executive chairman of Publicis Events.
You cannot have any impact on humanity, which is our motto, our raison d'être, as we say, unless you understand what humanity wants, what humanity wish, what humanity expects.
See, the stated goal of the Future Investment Initiative is not about making money, but impacting humanity.
People are extremely concerned about their income and the quality of life. So, which is a strong message to the world leaders. The second one, which was extremely important, is social inclusion. People feel more and more lonely. Because for us, membership is not about collecting money. It's about collecting commitments. We are an institution where every day we do call to action. We don't want just to have global conversation or intellectual conversation. We want people to commit. And today in the world, FI Institute is a not-for-profit organization. It is quite unique. We have created something which is a new generation of foundation.
The most buzzed about mega projects coming out of Saudi is called NEOM. It's an insane, futuristic, $500 billion city that's being built from nothing.
Here in Riyadh, they've opened up an entire free exhibit to show off what they have planned. This is the most ambitious project we've seen in our lifetime. There are 3 elements of NEOM. First, you have Oxagon, then you have Trojena, which is the mountainous region, and the most fascinating part about all of this is this massive line that goes through the middle of NEOM. Everything that you see that is white represents homes. Everything that's gray represents offices, schools, hospitals, things like that. This diamond-shaped stadium will seat between 60 to 80,000 people, and it's literally floating in the air. It makes you wonder how they're even gonna pull something like this off. I'm also told that that could host the World Cup in 2034. And standing here and experiencing this exhibit, you're left feeling optimistic and excited, but also skeptical. I mean, can they actually pull this off? This is a massive bet with a lot at stake.
The other projects people are buzzing about is on the Red Sea, where they're opening up hotels like St. Regis and Rosewood. Everyone I meet here who is working on these projects are speaking from a perspective where they know how their project fits into the broader 2030 vision.
We are responsible to look into becoming one of the pillars for the tourism industry and the sector as a whole. And we're doing our part. And I'm sure all the other giga projects will contribute to that vision. So we're contributing our part. We're creating jobs, signing major contracts. We're bringing private investments. I started 7 years ago on this journey, and it was just a dream. And that dream was translated into a strategy, from a strategy to a master plan. The master plan started execution, and now it is real. We landed on that airport a few weeks ago, and visitors are booking from all around us. Is this a sensational feeling? The efforts, all the hard work is now reality.
And of course, none of this can really happen right now without a high level of sustainability.
All those giga projects have the mandate. Now, what's very interesting in Saudi is that we have the Saudi Green Initiative. The Global Sustainable Tourism Center is part of Saudi Green Initiative. The Saudi Green Initiative is a very holistic view that has interaction in multiple areas, not only in energy, but also in the environment, in communities.
While the mega projects are exciting, the core of any successful innovation-driven market is ultimately its startups. I mean, just look how many billion-dollar companies have come out of Silicon Valley.
A couple of guys with a startup invited me to a huge pitch event happening later this week, and they were super excited about it. They said there's going to be 200 VCs, they're expecting hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's all related to the fintech space. And they were like so passionate the way they were talking about it. They were like, you cannot miss this, you need to stay to attend.
This is called The Garage. It's a new hub for startups in Saudi to build their company from. There are many Saudis here, but also many who have moved here from other countries too.
Of course, like most startup places, you do see predominantly men, but you do see a good ratio of females here as well. Here at The Garage, you see a pretty good percentage of women who are working, many of them Saudis. I think if you go to any startup space in the world, it is going to skew toward male, but it's actually quite interesting to see, that there is a nice percentage of women represented here.
The place impresses me. It's kind of like something you'd see in California or New York, and it's so huge it never seems to end. And the offices are actually full.
They even have a game room here.
It's here where I meet a guy who just moved here from the UK through an incubator program.
So my name's Lawrence, and I'm the CEO of Arable. Arable is a startup based here in Saudi Arabia. We're trying to grow vegetables in the desert hydroponically, so that we can help feed the country sustainably and affordably. Saudi Arabia, as a Westerner, obviously has certain connotations. I think when you come here initially, it is a big culture shock. But I would say maybe what you think of Saudi Arabia in the media is less than a tenth of what it actually is in reality. And I was very surprised at how open they were in a lot of ways. Obviously the culture is different in some ways, but the country is really ready to be changed. And the people here are so young and full of energy. You're able to speak relatively freely here. Even for myself, I didn't feel like I have to be censored or conformist or all of these things. Because it is a little bit further behind being internationally open than Dubai, you also have the caveat of not having the same infrastructure. So I think that is one thing they're going to struggle with, is building on such a large scale so quickly. The speed in which they do that will be the challenge. I've no doubt that they're going to get there. It's just the speed.
But shortly after he tells me that he feels free to talk about anything, we're interrupted.
There's just a few key things, and they're I think if we had a 10-minute conversation before the interview, going over your talking points, if you know what the questions are, then that's completely fine, and that's clear with us.
Okay, okay. I think, are we able to do that now?
Yeah,
just because.
So I can show you what the talking point is.
Yeah.
And then if you're making comments on how less developed the Saudi infrastructure is in comparison to Dubai, that reflects poorly.
Right. Okay.
So you as a voice, just kind of be mindful that if we're making comments on how Saudi has less developed infrastructure, that has ripple effects onto our fundraising.
Okay.
The conversation goes on for about 10 minutes before we decide to just not resume it. Now, to be fair, a PR person's job is to make sure every word said is going to portray its investment firm in the best light. So what just happened is not necessarily a Saudi thing. Something similar could have happened in the US. But it goes to show the sensitivity of working from a place where freedom of speech is not a right, where the government is largely invested in all aspects of business and investment. Saudi Arabia has a $700 billion public investment fund, and if it wants to make something happen, it has all the money to do so. But Saudi is also a complex market that lacks maturity.
There's 50 million people here. There's 25 million that have lots of money or some money, and then there's 25 million that provide the labor and the support and the help. And oftentimes they're immigrants or migrants from other markets around the world. So we're bringing technology solutions to help transform both economies.
So the infrastructure in terms of Saudi and the development that we've seen in Saudi has supported a lot in those development of the tech space. The introduction of online payments, Apple Pay and MetaPay has also accelerated the growth for the adoption from the consumer space. Previously, Saudi would make up 15% of investments in the MENA region. Today, it makes up 25% of investments in the MENA region. The possibilities are more, inshallah.
Well, one of the most important things at Impact 46 that we do is to care about the growth of the ecosystem. We always engage with the potential entrepreneur, people who have ideas and willing to develop this idea into an actual business. So we do a lot of programs, initiatives that support the ecosystem.
There's no other place in the world that you see this fast amount of changes and reforms being implemented very quickly, and it's visible to everyone, everywhere.
Companies, and now I can say we've set to the ground in terms of Impact's name, being able to invest with the company from seed up to pre-IPO, where we just listed our latest company in the stock exchange.
Well, we're seeing that happen here from the government side. The challenge is that the corporates and the companies are a bit slower. So what we're doing is we're bringing tech solutions to those corporations and to those companies and to the local conglomerates here to enable them to increase their pace of change, increase their efficiency.
Usually when we hear about modernization, we assume it's going to be a good thing, and I do believe it is, but not always, and it depends what you're giving up and what you're getting in return. While Saudi Arabia's changes mean amazing things for its economy, some locals are not happy to see their culture and religious traditions changing as the country becomes more Western. As one article put it, trading in religious police for techno-fests.
So that puts us as venture capitalists in a very interesting spot where we are somehow channeling and picking and choosing the direction of the whole country, of a whole economy, which might sound like a big statement, but I truly believe that as fund managers and capital managers, I think we are playing a big role.
This is a massive opportunity, not just for the locals, but for startup entrepreneurs around the world. If you solve a problem that is here, there's lots of business to be had here. So we're bringing companies from Europe, from Southeast Asia, even from India, Pakistan, and Egypt.
I just hope our work and our results get observed and seen by the outside world. That's it. So invite them to come visit and see for themselves.
This isn't per se just a Saudi thing, but it's going to be an international city. That's the message it seems like they're trying to convey here. Here in this rendering, I see about 30 people, and what's interesting is not a single one of them is wearing the traditional Saudi attire, which makes me wonder by 2030, by 2035, will Saudis wear it less, or is this just really meant to show that, hey, this is an international place, people from all over the world will be living here?